so he could see my teeth. He told me I had really nice teeth and looked like I took care of them. He was with his adult son, who then apologized and informed me that his dad was a dentist but has Alzheimer's, so he didn't mean to be weird. Working as a server, 17ish, had a drunk lady ask to give her a ride home. I finished up closing out my section and gave her a ride because I knew the area pretty well. She was really nice and everything, but had a couple drinks too many and her friends had already left a little earlier and she was too embarrassed to make a scene or call someone. She gave me $50 and I was stoked. Working in a pizza place, we've had more than our fair share of people stumble in and order delivery. Tip very well. If the driver could drive them home. Against policy, but a good tip and one less asshole on the road. My drivers always made it happen. I haven't waited tables in about 10 years now, but I'll never forget the guy who asked for his steak dry. When I pressed him for what he wanted explicitly, he explained that he wanted no juice to come out when he was eating it. I told him it would take about 30 minutes to cook his steak that done. He said that was fine and off I went. Our steaks were pretty miserable portions in the first place, and the cut he ordered was the smallest one on the menu. So when I returned with his tiny little 6-ounce flat iron that had been absolutely desiccated on the grill, he looked understandably disappointed. He took a few bites of it and decided it wasn't very good, which was underselling how bad it looked and almost certainly how bad it tasted. A mom and young son, maybe 8, came into the restaurant I waited tables at for lunch. The mom asked her son what he wanted to eat, and he replied with ranch. I politely asked if he meant, like, a salad with ranch? Or french fries with a side of ranch? The mom looked at me, rolled her eyes in embarrassment, and clarified he wanted a soup bowl full of ranch dressing. I walked into the kitchen and discussed with my manager, because I had no idea how to enter that into our POS system. My manager and I came to the conclusion that we should charge her for an entire bottle of ranch. So she paid $10.99 for a soup bowl full of ranch dressing. Yuck. Posed this before in our Tales from Your Server. Had a waitress work for me that came to me about a table of guys in her section. 3 of them were teasing the 4th guy BC he has a foot fetish and they wanted to buy the server's socks for him, his b-day. She came to me and asked if she could sell them for $50, their offer. First I asked if she was offended or disgusted by it. She was laughing and teasing about it. No worries, she said. I told her this. Tell the guys it's $100 and they should tip 100% as well. They did just that. Now the interesting part, she would sell this guy her socks every few weeks and also sell them online for fetishists. She said she was making really good money doing this as a side income. Interesting world we live in. I used to work in a sub shop that had delivery. A woman called asking if the driver could pick her up a pack of cigarettes and baby formula when he was bringing her food. This woman kept claiming she knew the owner, who was not present at the restaurant, and that he told her beforehand that it could be done. It was busy and I didn't have time to fight with her, so I asked the delivery driver if he could do that for her and he did. Not really a big deal, I guess. Just a little ridiculous to ask a delivery driver. Also, asked the owner if he knew the woman. He does not know her personally but just knows her from being a crazy customer who orders frequently. Friend of mine went to Cheesecake Factory and ordered a coffee with Baileys in it for dessert. Took ages. Server comes back and confirms. More time goes by, the cook comes out and confirms. Finally the waitress comes back with a cup of coffee with 2 bay leaves in it. I can only imagine how confused they were putting that one together. Early 2000s. Working in an Italian restaurant. This one cat insists he needs lime juice for his meal. As we're an Italian restaurant, we don't have any on hand for our menu items, but the bar should have some. Thinking out loud, I mention that the kitchen doesn't have any, but the bar throws those into bottles of Corona, so I might be able to get some there. Customer, are you going to charge me for that? Me, no. I think I can get a garnish for you. So I come back with the lime and he looks confused. Customer, where's the Corona? Me, I'm sorry, you said you wanted the lime? Did you want to order a Corona as well? Customer, yeah, I want one. You said you wouldn't charge me. Leading into a back and forth wherein he's upset I didn't bring him a free Corona with his free lime. Because he misunderstood me. I used to work at a private dining club and got the weirdest requests. One lady in particular that stands out. She wanted a martini with blue cheese stuffed olives. We didn't have blue cheese stuffed olives. I had to personally stuff each olive with blue cheese for each martini she ordered. She also wanted her salad tossed tableside, not a thing we normally offered. I had to get a bowl from behind the line. Tongs. etc. Just for the Caesar salad. And she wanted real butter for her bread. And insisted that the salted butter we had prepped and piped into ramekins for bread baskets wasn't real butter. It had to be sliced cold unsalted butter on a plate. She never tipped unless it was a holiday. I also had a regular that would insist you sat and ate with him. Management complied, but I think mostly it was because he came in at odd hours. Like lunch at 3 PM. When someone was usually wrapping up side work and about to be cut anyway. He'd order for you both. He was a nice older gay man who loved to talk about the history of the town. I loved him. I often wonder what happened to him. He'd been coming in for years and years. You did have to dump the iced tea and make a new batch for him. It's been a few years since I've worked in a restaurant. I had a couple that would come in regularly. Be total assholes the whole time. He's a trucker. She was a ducking lot lizard that he married. She would order a glass of ice, packed as full as I could get it. Hot water and lemon, because she brought her own tea bags and would make her own ducking iced tea at the table. They would order salad with crackers instead of croutons and soup with croutons instead of crackers. Depending on the food. Things had to be on separate plates and very specific items added or left off. Blonde French fries. Well done grilled cheese. I loathe these people and I still see them around town. Edited to I'm in Pennsylvania. I honestly had no idea croutons were common in soup in other countries' areas of the US. I guess that makes me sound bitchy instead of just an odd request. Whoops. I was 21. I had a 60-plus-year-old lady tell me she had her clit and nipples pierced. And asked me to look at them in the restaurant. It was so ducking weird. That the table next to them apologized on her behalf. She also didn't tip well. I'm assuming, because I declined looking at her piercings. Not a server. But I used to be a line cook. I once had a server come back to my saute station and tell me she was about to ring in a chicken dish and the guy specifically wanted it just overcooked to oblivion. I cooked it like I normally would. Then I microwaved it for 3 full minutes. Then I held it in tongs and burned the sheet out of it directly on the burner flame. I was totally okay with getting reprimanded for overdoing by a mile. She came back to me a while later and told me that the guy insisted that she thank me because it was the best piece of chicken he'd ever eaten. It was basically the food equivalent of finding out that some guys like to hire women to step on their gonads in high heels. I was absolutely blown away. I used to work at an Italian restaurant similar to Olive Garden. I had a lady once order a penne with chicken and broccoli. A tasty dish to be sure. But the lady requested that we make it with spaghetti pasta instead of penne because she is allergic to penne. Not sure how exactly you're allergic to a specific shape of pasta. We'd gladly do the substitute even if she wasn't allergic. I bartended all through college at this Bayside bar in Ocean City. ND. Every Tuesday. We had senior deck party, where we'd set up a free buffet with all the mushy foods you can think of. The seniors would come through. Grab a couple happy hour drinks. Gorge on potato salad. And head out. There was this one lady named Rose that would come. Take up 2 seats at the bar, one for her and one for her purse, and sit there all day. Demanding the following. A ginger ale in a highball glass with 2 orange slices. 1 lime slice. A lemon slice. 3 cherries. And 2 straws. She never touched the fruit. It was only a status thing. And I was supposed to fill up her ginger ale every time it got to half a glass to restore carbonation. Any bartender will tell you. Fruit is a precious commodity. This routine caused me extreme mental anguish. I should also add, she never tipped. I waited on a young couple one night, and before they ordered, the guy pulled me aside and explained to me that he was planning on proposing to his girlfriend during dinner, and had a special request. He wanted to give me the ring to give to the chef, so that he could insert it into whatever it is she ordered, so that she would find it while eating her meal. I explained to the guy that I didn't think the chef or my boss would go for that idea, as her potentially swallowing or choking on the ring was a pretty big liability risk. To which the guy responded, "Don't worry, I won't blame you guys if she chokes. And if she swallows it, we'll get it back," just to humor the guy. I asked the chef and my boss about the guy's request, and despite his verbal waiver of liability, they confirmed that we couldn't honor it. As an alternative, I suggested maybe ordering her favorite cocktail, and then I could place the ring around a straw or stir her in the drink before I brought it out to her. But he replied that that wouldn't work because she wasn't 21. He ended up proposing more conventionally, and she said yes. And now 20 plus years later, I sometimes wonder whatever became of them and how their marriage turned out. Technically a chef, but once I got an order for a kid's butter spaghetti with a side of powdered sugar. Not a wait staff, but I'm the one who made the request. I ordered a black bean burger with bacon on it. It led to confusing my server and the manager and the cook. I like black bean burgers a lot, and I'm not a vegetarian. I just love bacon. I had a customer ask what region the lobster was from in our lobster bisque, because he was allergic to shellfish, but only from a certain ocean. All I could think as we had to call the head chef at home to ask about lobster source regions was that maybe the guy could not eat the bisque. I was trying to really set a scene and write the story out, but it just doesn't make any sense, so a brief summary will do. A girl ordered tacos that had onions on them. After a short misunderstanding about the components of pico de gallo, the girl stated that she simply didn't want onions on her tacos. I offered to get her a new order, to which she responded, "Just take it to the back and take them off." Easy enough. I walked to the back and removed the onions. When I brought them back, she thanked me and tipped me $5. Now why she couldn't do this herself, or what benefit there was to losing $5, I will never know. But she was polite about it, so there's that. I work in a hipster breakfast restaurant. 2, maybe late teens, girls ordering coffee. Girl 1, confidently, "Can I have an iced vanilla latte with no coffee?" Me dart. "You want a glass of milk with vanilla syrup?" 1, "Oh. Is that what a latte is? Never mind, I'll just have water." Girl 2, "You really sounded like you knew what you were doing." This actually happened very recently. I was at the host stand when a lady came in, looking kind of frazzled and holding a few dollar bills. I greeted her and, as I expected, she immediately asked for quarters to plug the meter. I politely told her she could approach the bartender to get change, as I obviously don't just have a bunch of quarters in my ducking apron. She then looked at me very sternly and said, "No. You will get me change from the bartender," as if I had just asked her if I could kick her dog or something. So I get this itch some change, bring it back to her, and she says, "Not only should you have gotten me change right away, you really should have offered to go out and add quarters to the parking meter for me." Itch, I'm not a ducking valet nor your personal assistant. I'm still mad thinking about this. Well, reading this post reminds me of my mother's old roommate Sarah. Sarah is notorious as a particular diner. I've seen her bastardize foods time and time again. And when I went to see her in her neck of the woods in LA, we went to a joint she and her boyfriend frequent. The waiters fought over who worked with her. She would take an item and customize it to infinity. But the worst request was at my graduation party. She ordered her own pizza, but used gluten-free flour, and no tomato sauce or anything but white sauce and some pepperoni. What came out was a disgusting, awful thing I can only imagine the chef was embarrassed to have created. She then sent it back because it was not to her liking, and forced this poor kid to deal with her 4 more times. I tipped the waiter a 20 when I went to the bathroom as a specific apology for her antics. Table of 2. They both ordered the same thing. Lady A wanted to add a salad. Sure. It will cost extra though. She said that was fine. Lady B then decided that she also wanted a salad. At the end, Lady B wanted to know why she was being charged for a salad. Only Lady A was told that salads cost extra. Dude ordered a burger with just ketchup, mustard and pickles. As in, I'll have the 1/4-pound burger with just ketchup, mustard and pickles. Came back and gave it to him. He told me he literally wanted a bun with ketchup, mustard and pickles without the burger. Ducking psychopath ordered bread with condiments but he paid like $10, haha. Cow. I'll have the carbonara but can I change the tagliatelle for lasagna, and can I have crab and lobster instead of the carbonara sauce? Oh. And can I have the lasagne sauce with that? Me. Oh. You want the lobster and crab lasagne? Cow. No. I want the carbonara but change some of the ingredients. Duh. And don't overcharge me either or I'll have you fired. I know the owner. Me. Hey mum, the owner. Do you know this person? The rest is history. I've lost track of how many people have come up to the food truck I work on and asked if we had gluten-free buns, while holding a beer in their hands. Gentleman ordered half a pint of San Miguel. Looks at his half-pint glass in disgust. Then at me in disgust. And asks for it in a man glass. I once had a guy offer to buy my underwear. I've had people ask for bowls of cherries. I've had someone ask for all sides to be on separate plates. I know there's a lot more, but these are just the things coming to mind. When I waited tables. It was before the whole kale is a superfood thing. And I worked at an IHOP where they would put a sprig of kale on every plate as garnish. I didn't even really know it was edible. I thought it was, you know, just a green thing to make the plates look fancy or whatever. A man came in one day and ordered something that came with a side. And he asked if he could have kale. I was like, the garnish? Yes. The garnish. He just wanted a bunch of kale. I was really confused but put a bunch on the plate for him and it made him happy. So, there we go. He was years ahead of his time.